I'm Jess. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a pale, plus-size, usually femme-presenting human in my 30s. I have longer copperish hair, a nose ring, and I'm currently wearing a pastel-y rainbow shirt with a bronze triangle with black outline. It goes from my shoulders to my chest. Today, I am reading work from Charles Abernathy, a Springfield native who has wandered off to distant lands much like myself. Charles now works in change management in Ohio. When Charles was in the Ozarks, he was the vice president and chair for Pride Fest in 2014 and 2015. He's been an active and very dedicated force of progress and change in our community and now in the world. Charles was asked the following 4 questions in the context of his workplace and was kind enough to share the questions and his answers with us today here. The 4 questions are: what does Pride Month mean to you? How has being an ally or having an ally impacted you? What is the importance of having a community? And what is something you wish you could say to your younger self? We're going to do this a little differently than simply reading today. I'm going to read each question, and then we will take time to actually sit and reflect. And then we will hear what Charles Abernathy shared. Question number 1. What does Pride Month mean to you? Pride is this journey of deeply loving yourself. And I want to uplift the words of Alec Vade-Menon, a gender non-conforming writer, entertainer, and performance artist from the 2022 Creating Change conference video. Sometimes I worry that we call ourselves proud, even though we are not. Pride isn't automatic. Claiming an identity is also only the beginning. We must embark on the lifelong process of unlearning the shame inherited from a society that told us to disappear. As queer people, we often structure our lives around being accepted by heteronormative society. In that pursuit, we neglect to accept ourselves. Self-acceptance is paramount because when we don't, we risk reenacting the trauma we experience on each other. Queer and trans people can perpetuate homophobia and transphobia. This is not a contradiction. It is a trauma response. Compulsory pride has made it so that people can't be honest about the ways in which they still hold shame. It offers a contingent love, yet another disappearing act. Ironically, it shames those who are still ashamed. It reinforces a self-destructive cycle that prevents us from being honest about our varied, difficult, and ongoing journey. Pride Month is the development of discernment, self-determination, and active empathy that serves a dynamic good between the people and things around me. Societal change requires individual change. You got to create the good, you know? Question number 2. How has being an ally or having an ally impacted you? Here is Charles's response. Being an ally isn't a noun, but a verb that happens in the present. Two people come to mind when I think of allyship: Dietrich Bonhoeffer and Dean Spade. Bonhoeffer was a German theologian who was one of the early critics of Nazi regime. He led various Christian resistance efforts against Hitler's attempt to co-opt our faith. However, in April of 1943, Bonhoeffer was charged with conspiring to rescue Jews. The cost of his discipleship and resistance was his execution. His legacy in life taught me how faith could either be weaponized to oppress or be in reciprocity with others. Dean Spade is the author of Mutual Aid, a leading allyship and community building framework worldwide. His 3 elements of mutual aid can be universal examples of how allies can behave. 1, mutual aid projects work to meet survival needs and build a shared understanding of why people don't have what they need. 2, mutual aid projects mobilize people, expand solidarity, and build movements. And 3, mutual aid projects are participatory, solving problems through collective action rather than waiting for saviors. My responsibilities as an ally are to love and be in reciprocity with people, places, and things around me, to unlearn and identify ideas and behaviors that keep me from that dynamic good in the discipline of allyship. Question number 3. What is the importance of having a community? And here's Charles's response. I learned in my second year of high school that rotating who slept on a queen-size Murphy bed and who slept on the floor in a studio apartment with 5 other LGBTQ youth is a love language. Being rejected and finding safety outside your home as a young person is a confusing and painful experience. I realized I needed a community to affirm my existence when grieving in anger and despair caused by hate and conformity. To be in a community with others is to understand how our past shows up in the present. The ideologies of those who benefit from queer pain want people who love and look like me to be isolated and in conflict with each other. You see the strategy of creating silos even within the queer civil rights movement. In early Western gay and lesbian civil rights groups in the mid-1900s, the Daughters of Bilitis and the Modogene Society intentionally excluded the transgender and gender non-conforming from their imagination and scope of civil rights. That pattern of behavior continued into the early 2000s after the second attempt to pass the Employment Non-Discrimination Act without provisions protecting transgender workers from discrimination. Today, we see an unprecedented amount of laws criminalizing and erasing transgender people around the world. What I learned from previous generations of civil rights leaders trying to protect the LGBTQ+ community is, it is not possible when we leave people behind. My age is learning from the past and redefining what it means to be in a community. It is no longer limited to the shared experiences of being queer. Admission requires shared values and goals that will keep us in community with each other. Final question. What is something you wish you could say to your younger self? Charles Abernathy's response. Dear Doi Doi, our past is in front of us. I am always amazed to watch you choose hope as a discipline and lead with your heart against all odds. From being a homeless high school student to fostering an extended internal life that mirrors your external one as an adult. The future might be uncertain, but what you choose to perpetuate will lead you to a reimagination of your future. Growing up with laws that ban you and your community's existence will be hard. It's an unbelievable labor that you didn't have to experience in order to be who you are today. When you cry in your room, wondering in pain if abandoning yourself and who you are is a worthy exchange for their love, you will learn to pick yourself. But forgive yourself for the times you left behind so you can survive. I love it when you shine and take up space. It will take practice and intention to be kind to yourself, but it will develop the discernment to know what kindness looks like in others. Remember your Lola and Grandma Margaret. Give flowers to the living and always ask, who does this narrative benefit? You can always rest in this love. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. You were born this way, divine and beautiful. You are sexy AF. Let that shine too. Yes, you could dump him, but some lessons have to be experienced. Continue to love yourself deeply. Your biggest fan, Charles Abernathy.